Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Look, I understand why it is that a lot of folks feel some kind of way about, why people feel some sort of way about other groups of people that are not black. We've heard everything. They don't like us. They all think they're better than us. Every last one of them. None of them are ever going to treat us fairly. No single person from India is ever going to treat fairly a single person of black African origin. And no black African from Africa is ever going to treat fairly a single African American. And all them island people think they better than us. And then, after a while, the paranoia, the way this is going, eventually the paranoia is going to turn into them Africans and them island people are all going to gang up on us, and they plotting and planning on us. That's what really will become to. Now, unfortunately, this has been in the hyenocracy, gynocracy, matriarchy. And the purpose of that was probably to, one, soften our attitudes towards booty banditry and same gender unions, because as we know, people in the islands and the continent don't play that. And then it spilled over, carried over into the manosphere. Maybe the purpose of that was so that we, while being in the manosphere, we wouldn't necessarily feel so safe giving women of other backgrounds a chance, even non-ADOS black women. What's the reason for that? Well, because, they might actually treat you better. And Lord knows the hyenas don't want that. They don't want you to find a sweet, submissive, attractive black woman from a non-Western background. That's why you get someone from the UK. Boom chic in America may or may not trip it. As long as that lady in the UK treats you just like the American sister would, she's fine with that. Because you're not getting what you put into it. Yeah, think about it. But even if you get a Jamaican woman and she beats the snot out of you or pistol whips you or something like that, yeah, fine. Okay, yeah, sure, that's okay. She's welcome into the sisterhood. But you mess around and you find that sweet, submissive, attractive Fulani woman from somewhere in the continent, and they see her treating you well and fixing you plates and all this other stuff, and they're gonna look at her like, what the F? You ain't got to do all that. He ain't all of that. And if they get in her ear, it's over. You find that nice lady from Ethiopia that's going to spoil you if you're doing your job. Oh, dang, he got you whipped like that? What's wrong with you? Yeah, that's how they do it. I know, because I've seen it happen in Atlanta multiple times. I remember when a Sudanese lady in Atlanta started leaving. She began to leave her husband. Now, I don't know the inside of this situation. What I know is that this man was shocked by something. He was surprised by something. And one day I saw him and he didn't have his two bottom teeth in. And apparently he got into a fight with one of the Nigerians because his wife, who was leaving him, told the Nigerian man's wife all these bad things about him being a bad man, bad husband, and abusive and all this other stuff. Never mind, she never had any bruise on her. And granted, I never inspected her, but nobody ever said anything. You see, things that were less than this had made scandals sometimes in the community. This never was a scandal. And then one day, and the thing is this, usually when there's abuse in the house, the kids, if they know about it, they act out in school. His kids never did. Then he sees me and he's sad. He doesn't know what's going on. His wife's leaving. Then I see him one day and he doesn't have his two bottom teeth. What? And then later on he told me he got into a fight. Some other people told me he got into a fight. Then he told me about it. Because the Nigerian husband was upset about how he was treating his ex-wife, and he believed what he heard, so he went and sorted him out. The problem was, And see, neither of these men had a history of violence before. And it's the funny thing, that Nigerian man that went to sort him out did not know. But his wife had told some women that she was going to leave him as soon as she got her papers to stay in the country as a citizen. Because he was already a U.S. citizen. And she'd already told someone, and she's from Morocco. The reason she was going to do it wasn't because she started off not liking the man. She was like, no, I mean, I was fine with him when I married him, but living with him, man, he won't turn the heat on in the winter. He won't turn the AC on in the summer. Everything, all he does is say the afterlife is worse if we're not patient in this life. Like, so what? God's going to throw me in hell for enjoying AC in the summer? But, you know, in the winter in Atlanta, when it gets cold, it can really get cold. And I'm sure that was really what bothered her. I'm sure that was a threat. Because that can threaten your health. When it gets cold, it's cold. And that's one reason why when I had to go back to the States, when I have to go back to the States, I never go in the winter. Never do. Because Atlanta's too cold for a lot of people. So all this is going on. And I think that that's one of the reasons why you have some of this Blackanoia being sort of preached to the manosphere, rather why it is that it's there, that this idea that every woman that's not black is going to treat you badly. And even if she's non-ADOS black, she's probably going to use you for your papers. Some people are trying to push this. Now, most of these are not men. But the point I'm making is that this is being inherited in small portions in the manosphere, and now even into the golden sphere. Anything that breaks away from that gynocracy matriarchy of hyenas, somewhere down the line, some idea slipped in that always makes it convenient for them. And one of them, well, it's all really a part of an overarching pattern. Overarching pattern, and that pattern is Blackanoia. And if you believe it, what'll happen is that you will not give a chance to people of other backgrounds to get to know you, nor will you try to get to know them. You will assume they got it in for you. They may even assume that you got it in for them. That's going to wind up happening. I don't want to see that be the case, but that's looking like what it's going to be. And here's part of what the problem is with that. If you don't get to know some of these other folks, you're not going to find out what you've missed out on. Both in terms of just friendships with other groups of people, learning what actually works, and then learning what to avoid in women. That serves a purpose. That's one sad thing about it, they all love to tell you about what these other women are going to do to you and how they're going to use you. And then, you know, a lot of them will. But they all love to talk about what another one's going to do, how they're going to use you, how they're going to... And when they're doing this, the thing is, they'll do the same thing if they can. And that's what's sad about it. So the same ladies that want you in the manosphere to believe that every non-ADOS woman is going to use you for papers or something like that, don't want you to know that that's exactly what they've said they're going to do to each other, because they don't want you to stop and critically analyze and think about how badly they talk about those of each other who don't do this to you. If one of them does not do this to you and tells her lady friends about this, they're going to get on her, girl, you stupid. You actually with him out of loyalty? If that man ain't bringing home a bag, leave him. If you get big, even if you cheat and bring home another man's kids, he needs to stay if he's a real man. But you need to leave as soon as he doesn't bring home a bag. Unless, of course, maybe he's just an F-boy, in which case you can screw him and we won't make fun of you for it. But even then, you still need to be cheating on someone else when you screw him. You need to be using some other man's money to spend on him. I mean, it's funny like that, isn't it? Even though they're locking you into a situation in which if you choose one of them, you will be mistreated because they're the only ones that are going to be available anyway. They're going to turn around and try to they want you to feel like everyone that's not them is going to use you. When in fact, you're most likely to be used by one of them. What's the reason? Because see, that woman in Thailand that doesn't use you is not going to be talked bad about by her friends for not using you. But that woman in Baltimore that doesn't use you is going to get clowned by other women for not using you. That's the difference. So always these ideas of Blackanoia, if anything makes you Blackanoid, any idea makes you Blackanoid, stop and think about who actually benefits from that idea. Now, it is perfectly fine to have concerns about groups of people that will side with the Wyatts against us and throw us under the bus. Whether you are black admixed or black unmixed, they're going to treat you the same. The one-drop rule is not something that is only applied in the black community. Other groups, if they have any white supremacist leanings, they will apply that too. It will be applied by those who hate you. So I take Carl Williams' stance on that. Shout out to him. You're dealing with white supremacists. Don't sit up and try to convince them of how black you're not. No, shuck that fit. Wear it in their face. Yeah, that's right. I'm mixed Mandingo and Zulu with a body. Yeah, I'm 200% blackity black. Yeah, that's right. I voted for Obama 2 times. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that type thing. That's how you deal with them. Now, if you are of an admixture and you've been asked to quietly leave or something, that's different when you're having a conversation with someone of black origin. But dealing with white supremacists from the outside, yeah, they're the ones that are going to say you're all N-words to me. Go ahead and be a double N-word in their face. Matter of fact, put a big old N on the bottom of your boot and then kick them in the chest and stomp them with it until they got nothing but N's on their chest. And then say, who's the N-word now? But that's a different story. The point I'm making is that when somebody comes along with anything that makes you look at everyone that's not of either black origin or not of Western black origin as an enemy, who does that benefit? Now, you could say it benefits the white supremacists. You could say it benefits Boom Chic and Bon Quisha and Sophista Ratchet Sapphire. You could say that. I can tell you who it doesn't benefit, and that's you. MLS man, or if you are 200% black, doesn't matter, it doesn't benefit you. Why? Because many men from many other backgrounds, there are some backgrounds, the men of which will not treat you fairly almost all the time. You won't meet them. Those who will. And if they will, they're going to get disowned by their own people. That does exist. I mean, the Koreans, the Chinese, they could be like that. I don't know to what percentage, but it's understandable. You would look at them collectively. I'm not even talking about individually, but collectively, you look at their communities and say, we ain't cool. Even if you're cool with an individual amongst them, you look at the community and say, we're not cool because of how their views are. Fine. But do you think that this is across the board for everybody? That's not reasonable. I live in a country in which you got some guys here you got plenty of guys here actually that have seen the TV and they've seen us robbing people at ATMs on the television or something like that. But in reality, they'll meet you one-on-one and they'll give you a chance and they'll see, and you get to show them who you are and who you're not. And I will be honest with you, Kitagakure Jones and a non-black man. Now, a non-black man I can't stand because of the way he treated me. I try to be fair, but I'm telling you he's a man I cannot stand to this day. Even though I understand he was being loyal to his friend, he was unfair to me. But I can say that what he said, I could vouch for. Living abroad as a black man, whether you're black African, black American, or whatever the case is, they will give you a chance as an individual. And many times they don't regret doing that. Because the shine and the stereotype that's waiting at the ATM to rob someone is still in the United States anyway. And that's the one that really fits the stereotype. How rare is that? But if he does, he's still in the States. He's not sitting up on the plane about to land in their country and clear customs and do the same thing over there. It's not about to happen. They already know. If you're going to go to jail, you ain't going to travel to do it and go to some third world jail. They already know this. I'm not going to sit here and travel to Papua New Guinea to rob somebody. No. If I want to do something that's going to get me thrown in jail, I'd catch a flight to Norway. Walk up to them and say, I'm not a tourist. I'm the other T word-ist. Yeah. I'm not playing anything. Just put me in a prison. That's how I would do it. Or if, I don't know, I'd walk up and say something like, yeah, I just stole a few $1,000,000. I hacked into one of your banks here and stole a few $1,000,000. I cashed it out and the bags haven't arrived, but yeah, I stole the money. So here you go, and here are my hands. If I want to go to and get locked up, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna go fly down to the Dominican Republic and try to mash their island up and get thrown behind their bars. Oh, forget that. No, indeed. So I'm gonna tell y'all straight away that Blackanoia that people like to I mean, on one hand, we have a legitimate concern about people that actually will side with our enemies against us. That's a legitimate concern. But what's happened is that we have exaggerated this into an illegitimate intensity that I call Blackanoia. Everybody is now our enemy, everyone that's not us. And then even if they are us genetically, but they're not ADOS, then we take them as enemies too, because we assume that they're plotting and planning against us, when in fact, most of them are not. Most of the negative perceptions that many non-ADOS black folks have of black folks are based on depictions that they begin to disbelieve when they spent any time with us. That's the truth of the matter. I went to college with several non-ADOS black folks, and they were nice. Now, they said, yeah, this is what we see on the TV, but I mean, that's TV. We know that it can't be completely real. We just don't always know what's true and what's not about the States until we get here. We had these talks about it before. And no, you know what? You may not believe this, but they're not sitting around in their homes in the States or back home in their countries looking at us and saying, oh, these are kato, or these whatever other terms they might have. Oh, they're just wild animals, and we're going to go over there and benefit from all of this civil rights struggles and then trample on them and tell them F you. They're not thinking like that. That's not what they're doing. Because anybody that's sitting up really talking trash about you categorically for being African American, it's probably somebody not even from Nigeria, but more specifically from Lagos. They'll talk about you if you're from the wrong part of Lagos, let alone if you're from the northern part of the country. They'll talk about anybody. So even then, it's not really about you being African American. It's more about them just being a jerk from a big city that's overcrowded, where they teach you to be a jerk. And if somebody really does come from these backgrounds and they hate African Americans, it's because they only got to be around the stereotypes in the worst zip codes. And in all honesty, if they raise their kids in those areas, those kids turn out the same way. Same thing. No, I try to stop him from playing with the local kids. Well, you know, now he's like Akon, convict and everything else. Yeah, not much you can do. But it doesn't really have to do with what some people are trying to tell us, that everybody hates us and everybody's our enemy, and nobody's going to give us a fair chance no matter what, and everyone's going to harm us. No, you know, when you really get down to it, the truth is that's not the case. It's not. A lot of people are going to look at us and they're going to take us on an individual basis. There are communities, there are groups of people we have every right to look at and say, you stay your butt over there. We do. And even then, they got individuals that ain't going to be a part of the problem. You'd be shocked at how many people from Southern India don't look down on us. Or you think they all do? No, you'd be shocked. In Southern India, you got plenty of people that don't. I did a live stream with Torch Blaze about that. You'd be shocked. Matter of fact, in Bangladesh, they don't. They kind of don't know what to make of us, but they don't walk around looking down on us in Bangladesh. You go across the border into northern India from Bangladesh, and they do. Cross another border into Pakistan, yeah, they do. Yeah, you'd be shocked. You go into Afghanistan, yeah, they look down on black folks, but they love Somalis because there were many Somalis that went to help them expel the Soviets during the Soviet occupation. And so a lot of them actually, it's funny because if they see someone and they know that he's Somali, you may think, well, it's because the Somalis aren't really black. No, that's not the reason why. They know that they are. It's because of what help they rendered during the Soviet occupation. It's complex. It's more nuanced than what we would think. And oftentimes the only way for us to really find out is to be willing to get to know some folks from these other backgrounds. Especially if you have not heard them specifically say something derogatory about us categorically. I can tell you which regions of the world you're most likely to find people either neutral or pro-you even. I've already told you about it. Southeast Asia. They're not pushovers. They're not wimps and weaks and punks and all that other stuff. They're not. They're very nice and sweet people. But you go into those areas and you may actually have a better shot than one of the Wyatts. Even when they're using skin bleach. They're actually more amenable and more willing to listen if you tell them why they don't need it than somebody from the continent is. You can go into, as I said, Bangladesh, and they're more neutral towards you. Even parts of the Arab world are like that. The Gulf's that way. Even parts of, many parts of Latin America. As a matter of fact, you'd be shocked. Many Colombians who don't know of any black blood they might have in them actually have sayings, proverbs in Spanish that the Africans may not be aware of. One common saying in Colombia is, there is no Colombia without Africa, but there was always an Africa before there was a Colombia. They say this in Colombia. Yeah, I know, it's strange, right? I met a Colombian. He would appear to be a white Colombian by all appearances. And I was going to be hostile at first, and this was in the 1990s. Maybe 2000. But I think it was in 1999 I met him. And I was actually going to be a little bit hostile. But in the end, when I was sitting with my man from Ethiopia, and he said, "Oh, where you guys from?" And because I was speaking Amharic to him. So I told him he's from Ethiopia. I'm from a related tribe, let's just say that. And so he said, "Oh, y'all African?" I said, "Yes, sir, we are. What about you, sir?" And he said, "I'm from Colombia. We got African people there too." And I was like, "Wait. Okay, you mean people of African descent?" I heard about that. And he said, "Yeah, they're of African descent, but they actually still speak an African language." And he was saying this with pride. He was bragging about it. My jaw dropped. Now you got brothers going to Colombia and they're telling you that they're making friends with Colombian men. Stop and think about that. You got men going to the DR and they got friends that are Dominican men. Not looking down on them. Actually even learning our variation of American English. My man from my hometown went down there. He was partying with some of them, and he met one guy in a club that said to him, "Look, man, anything you need, you can tell me, and I can procure it for you at an affordable, reasonable price, because I'm a father-mucking hustler." And he said it in English just like that, according to what my friend told me. By the way, my friend's nickname is Dark. I know the irony, right? That's what's going on. We got to get rid of this Blackanoia because it's really not justified. I'm just going to be honest with you. This Blackanoia is getting ridiculous. We don't need it in the manosphere. It ain't got no business in the golden sphere either. It ain't got no business in any sphere that is reacting to this hyenocracy by breaking away from it. Because in the end, being careful benefits anyone. But being Blackanoia to the point you won't even be willing to meet and get to know black folks that aren't ADOS, let alone non-black folks or semi-black folks or whatever the case is, only benefits either the white supremacists who hate us or the gynocrats who want to control us and keep us in their pockets and maybe hate us. According to some of them themselves, they hate us. So throw out the Blackanoia. Keep the caution and the willingness to investigate and learn for yourself, but throw out the Blackanoia. Thank you for listening. Black heart, black mind, black out. Until next time. Salam.